welcome to another episode of the Get At It Gaming Plus podcast. I am one of your hosts, Ben.
I am Alex.
And this is our bi-weekly podcast where we kind of just talk about things in the nerd realm. We talk about video games, anime, movies, stuff that we like, and we bring it to you guys every other week. This will launch on all platforms on Wednesday, and then it will be on Friday on YouTube. So check us out there every week. Please hit the subscribe button on YouTube. Definitely on your choice of where you get it. We're on Amazon, iHeart, and Apple iTunes. Also, we're on Twitter and Facebook, so definitely check us out. Wanted to start the show like we always do. We talk about what we're playing and hidden gems. And because mine is like literally one game that I got in the last couple of weeks, I'm gonna let Alex go first.
That doesn't make any sense.
I'm guessing, and this is my question to you. Have you gone back to buying stuff on Whatnot?
Yes, but that's not part of this.
Okay.
I bought stuff yesterday, actually. I bought a lot. I got a sealed Detective Conan game randomly for like $12, something like that. For PSP.
Where did you get
Whatnot.
Oh, okay. So this is not what you're talking about today,
No, that's not what I talked about. No. So no, things that I'm talking about, one of them you've probably already seen. From social media and whatever. So this thing, first of all, is something I bought today, so you do not know what this is. The local store had a bunch of Game Gear games today, and they had a bunch of Sonic Game Gear games, like ones that you normally don't see. And so I paid a little bit more of a premium. I actually don't know price charting for this, but I got Sonic Drift 2 for $20.
That's not one that you typically see either.
No, it's not. You never see Sonic Drift or Drift 2. And that's why I was like, I'm buying this. I know it's coming to the Origin collection or whatever here soon. Because all the Game Gear games are, but I don't care because I have the analog pocket that can play these. So I'd rather play them on like a better way, because on the analog pocket is probably the better way to play it than through the Switch through an emulation thing.
And I agree to that. I agree.
But yeah, no, that's what I bought today. Yesterday, I got the game that everyone's playing. We got Tears of the Kingdom. And
sure
it is a game for sure. I regret playing it right now. I regret buying it right now. I regret it's either that side of the coin, or I regret the other side, which is I regret starting Xenoblade 2 a week ago. Because I really like Xenoblade 2, and I had to just stop that cold turkey to play this and just see how it is. I might switch back to Xenoblade 2. I'm enjoying this game a lot, but it definitely is one of the... It's kind of like an Animal Crossing, in my opinion, which is weird to how to describe Zelda, but in the sense of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom are very much the same game, where you can just drop in and drop out. You can play for a little bit, you can do some exploration, you can go cook or whatever, and just fight some enemies and have fun doing nothing, as we talked about like prior to the start of the show. You can just do whatever, and any kid will just be amazed and happy. They won't even have to progress plot or anything. It's just enjoyable just to be in that world.
Right.
So that's why I really compare it to Animal Crossing, because Animal Crossing is designed to be one of those games where it's just like, hey, I'm here for a bit. What's up? Let's go hang out. And then I'm hopping out because I did everything for the day. So you can really pick your poison and just do however much you want to for Zelda. But it's an amazing game. It deserves all the hype, all the praise. There's just so much to do, and I barely scratched the surface. Banjo-Kazooie nuts and bolts. It's weird. Like there's this weird building mechanics, and like I still don't get it. I feel like I mess it up more than half the time because it just doesn't make sense to me. But then when you do get it working and you waste all your materials, but it finally works, it's a fun time. Because there is a lot of building that you have to do, honestly. But so yeah, I got that, and then the last thing I got, which I posted on both of my social medias. One's private, one's not. I think you might have seen this. I'm not sure if you have, which is the Famicom Detective Club.
I did see that, and I was like kind of curious of what that is exactly. Is it like a novel?
Yeah, it's an old like adventure game, like a visual novel adventure, like talk, speak, walk, whatever. Um, and they made it for they re-released it for Switch, and so it actually is out downloadable even in America, so you can play it for the first time. They were two games on the Famicom disk system back in Japan years ago, and then they re-released them into this. So like here's like the opening for audio listeners. I'm just showing like the inside of the box. So this side with this has some like CDs and stuff like that in it. One looks to be like Super Famicom stuff as well. So like I wonder if there was a remake at some point, because like one of the CDs has the Super Famicom logo on it, and then the other one's just the Famicom disc because it has like the little yellow square guy, which is the Famicom disk system thing. It comes with two double-sided posters that look like to be old um advertisements for the original games back in Japan. It comes with a book that says like "Do not open," and it's sealed, so like I'm not gonna just open it because this is a collector's edition. Yeah, I kind of just bought it randomly
Where
because I
did you
saw it. Huh?
Where did you get it from?
Our local place.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, they just had it. Because they had a bunch of things that Switch games that were sold recently, and then I was trying to look for the Xenoblade 2 DLC as a cartridge, and I was just asking them. I was like, "Hey, are all these things have these already been processed or whatever?" He's like, "Yeah, they have. Is there something you want to look at or something?" I was like, "Oh, do you have this?" No, we don't. And then I saw the Famicom Detective, and then they also had Xenoblade 2 Collector's Edition, which they sold for like over $200. Because Xenoblade 2 already is just a hard game to find since there just aren't enough copies of that. It's out of print, which is crazy to me because you can find Definitive Edition and 3 everywhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, they had this, and I had a 20% off coupon, and so I was like, yeah, I'll do it, sure. And then like by the time like I was checking out, Ari gave him the card. I realized that this was Japanese only. Like I can play, like it works with the Switch, but like it's a text heavy game, and I because like there was English on the box and stuff. I didn't see like the Sero rating or whatever on the bottom. Like I just wasn't, or on the side. Like I didn't notice that little box in the corner. I just saw like collector's edition in English, and I saw like the Famicom thing from the side like this. So
So
I thought it,
you
huh?
can't change the language in that to English.
Not for this physical copy, but I can buy the digital copies, which are localized to English. So
Okay.
essentially, yeah, I'm buying the game twice. Is what's probably going to happen. Is that I have this really cool physical thing, but then I'll actually have to buy the English version digitally, which isn't the worst thing in the world. But
No.
I think it's a pretty cool thing. I think it's a really eclectic and just strange thing to just come across. Um, like it really looked like when I was looking at the stack of games and stuff that was being sold. Um, like it looked like I was selling games.
Right.
Like that's what the stack looked like. It looked like just a bunch of games that were curated for me, things that I already had, or things that were just very, again, like just niche, eclectic, whatever. Um, And so yeah, I bought it, and I kind of regretted it for a little bit, but it's a cool thing to have on my shelf for a while until I need money or something, right?
Yeah, I mean, we all have those. I mean, I think there's been several times I bought stuff and you're like, why did you buy that? I said, no, it's really cool. And then later you're like, hey, do you still have that? I'm like, no, I sold it. So we all have that.
See, the difference is I don't think I'm gonna sell this.
No, that's pretty sweet. I mean, I'll give you that. I think that's a pretty cool. But it's not something you're gonna go to a store and be like, there's 50 of them sitting there.
Yeah, please don't tell me how much I paid for this.
My guess is like 150.
Less, actually.
Okay.
No,
Like
it was
120?
listed as 100,
Okay, but that's not bad.
but I had
I feel like,
20% off, so it was like 80 some plus tax with tax.
I mean, I do feel like for what that is,
I
and
think
like I
it's
said,
worth it for that, but like, is it worth it for me for that? Maybe.
I mean, you'll keep it for a while, and if it ever once you play the games, you're like, eh. You
I
could
mean,
always probably sell it for more than that.
yeah, I mean, you're talking to the guy though who bought stupid Sonic the Hedgehog anime OVA for $90. So
Yeah,
it's fine. It's fine. I
if we started this podcast of things that we bought that we spent way too much money on, um,
it would go forever.
I mean, I would, but you know what? Like, I feel like I've always said this to people: if it's something that you really like, and obviously in that there, and I don't know without looking, it's not something I feel like you overpaid on.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like you could take that thing and throw it on eBay and make more money. So
Probably.
I don't think
For
it's a
sure.
dumb purchase.
And it really looks like it wasn't touched because there's still like tape on the side, like that they just like folded essentially. And like I said, the book thing underneath there is still sealed, and the posters were in pristine condition. So
That's pretty sweet.
it's like these things up here, they're still in their plastic wrap. It's just that someone cut the side of it so they could pull out the DVDs.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, but that's all I have today.
What do you? I can't remember. Do we even do it that way? If like
No, normally we do. Wow,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
it's been a while, right? No, normally we just talk about our games and then we talk about what we've been watching.
Okay. Well, mine was, and I don't know where I saw this. I think it was a Metal Jesus video, and they were talking about like the best Switch games under $20. And so I got L.A. Noir for the Switch, and now I know there's a huge amount of stuff you have to download, but I've never finished this game. And I feel like the way I'll finish it is on my Switch because I play my Switch before I go to bed. You know? And they're like, there's some frame drop stuff, but other than that, it actually looks pretty good. So
Yeah, I have that game. It's on my shelf back here somewhere. And like it runs fairly well because I mean it's a PS3 game. You're just playing the complete version of the PS3 game.
yeah. And so, I definitely want to like play it and experience it. And it is one of those Rockstar games that's pretty good story. I feel like this is the time period where Rockstar was making cool things like Bully, and besides Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, being experimental.
Yeah, because Bully is completely experimental. They did this game. Unfortunately, they've never done anything like that. They just stuck to their roots of Grand Theft Auto and Red Dead, which I do want to play Red Dead 2.
It was
not.
It was pulling teeth to get them to make us Red Dead 2. Like honestly, because they really just want to do GTA since it sells a ton. And to be fair, like I don't blame them. But like people want LA Noire 2. There is a big following for that game.
Yeah, and it was from what I remember, like so well acted. It was really set in that time period where cops did a little bit more physical stuff. But Rockstar's gonna do Rockstar. Like, they're gonna stick to Grand Theft Auto. That's why they gave up on Red Dead so quick. So
yeah, I played and bought LA Noire. Well, actually, I played the old one on like PS3 a tiny bit, And then I bought the Switch version because not friends of the show, but cool boys, Alex Faciani and Gerard Khalil were playing it on Super Beard Bros, like way back in old Super Beard Bros era,
Oh
and
wow.
that's how I watched like half of the story, and I was like, I need to play this game now. So then I stopped watching them, and then I caught up to them and watched and played and whatever. But like, yeah, that's like old school Gerard stuff. Like this is like one of those big let's plays that I really remember paying attention to. But yeah, like there's a lot of stuff. So like don't stream this game unless you can edit things, because like you see things and
Yeah.
like nudity and gore and all that kind of stuff, like chopped off heads and like yeah, like there it's a lot. So don't play this around the kids and stuff, but you have it on Switch so you can just
I'm really
handheld
hoping
it.
there was a movie a while back called L.A. Confidential. Huge
Mm-hmm.
cast, like Kevin Spacey, Kim Basinger, and it literally was like this. Like there's a police officer trying to solve a murder. And there's a bunch of famous people involved. So I'm hopefully that's kind of like that there, and I'm excited to kind of start it
Yeah, for sure.
and get that. I know there's gonna be a big download, but I don't have a lot of stuff on my Switch right now, so that'd be perfect.
Yeah.
So all right, so what are you watching? What are you playing? I know I talked about one thing that I was playing earlier, but um, you know, I think, and I'll just kind of jump into it since I'm already going.
Sure.
So, obviously, I got Jedi Survivor for my birthday, and so I wanted to finish Fallen Order, and I did. Um, and I thought it was kind of I didn't do a ton of extra stuff, but I did feel it was kind of short. But then once I jumped into Survivor, I was like, "Holy crap! This is like much better game commit. Like everything was better. Graphics looked better. The fights were better. Everything felt a little bit better. A lot more darker than what we had seen in the other game.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I'm only like an hour into it. Uh,
How does it does it play better, like in the sense of, because you switch difficulties like I did for the original, does it feel more fluid and like you don't have to do that, or did you still switch it to an
yeah.
easier?
So the first one I played in story mode because I want to kind of blaze through it to start the new one. The new one I'm playing on. So there's story, there's Padawan, there's Knight, and then all the way down to like Master.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm playing this on Padawan, which is not the lowest level.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I just don't have that time where I can just sit and play for 3 hours. And so a lot of times in games, if I want to play it again, I want to finish it first and then go back and do it.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like it was pretty. It definitely um, it had its difficulties even in that level.
Okay.
Um, it wasn't easy by any means,
Yeah. Okay.
and so and also you kind of start with a lot of the same stuff you had in the last game. You end with. So I don't want to like kill the story for anybody else. So I'm not going to do spoilers or anything like that.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
because I mean, I won't talk about that new game because I haven't played it, obviously. But the previous game, and I talked to you, but I kind of danced around it because I didn't know how far you went. Where I ended up having to change the difficulty for me was, I don't know if it was on Kashyyyk or something, but it was like after you got your dual lightsabers,
mm-hmm.
and then you're thrown into a battle with like the Inquisitor lady, and you have to like learn how to parry properly with them, otherwise she just kills you, and there's not enough time to like learn it with regular enemies, and you can't go back. And so I just had to like, I was like, screw it, and I changed the difficulty to an easier difficulty and just didn't look back and just kept going forward, because like I was already kind of on the fence with the difficulty for that game. I mean, it just felt too hard, but I also think it felt hard because it wasn't responsive. Because
Yeah,
like it's trying to be a Dark Souls, it's trying to be a Bloodborne where like parrying and everything is everything, but with the lag, with like the way the levels were loading. This is back on PS4 Pro. It just didn't feel right. So
I've had zero issues. Even no, I was playing mine on PS5 and I had a digital version, the first one, and I didn't have any of those problems. Now I will tell you, even on story mode, some of those fights were pretty brutal.
mm,
You know, you still have to parry properly, but there's a more of a window for you to parry. The easier it is. Um, the end of the game definitely felt a lot harder than the rest of the game. So, there and like the new one, I'm only about an hour in, and it kind of just throws you into stuff. It does like the tutorial of like, hey, do this, and then they add new things or whatever, and
mm-hmm.
and stuff. But I know there's a lot of problems with the game. I've not seen anything yet in the new one.
Yeah, but I mean,
So
you've also waited and got all the
right,
updates. So I haven't really seen anyone talk about the game since. So I wonder
right.
if most of the things have been fixed, but everyone's already on a different game at this point, so they're not talking about
And
it.
I feel like it's not like a cyberpunk. Like I don't think it's like that bad of like glitches and stuff. So now another game that I did try fairly quickly was Redfall. Um, it's not good. Um, I played it on my PC. I played it on the higher settings. It just felt the world felt empty to me, and it felt like I was playing like a PlayStation 3 game or an Xbox 360. I didn't feel like I was playing like a next gen game that was supposed to be the biggest thing ever.
Yeah.
Um, a lot of times you'd go and fight the vampires, and you wouldn't even hear them or see them coming; they would just show up randomly.
Mm-hmm.
Or like the graphics weren't very good. I just felt like it was an underdeveloped. Let's get this out real quick, and then later we can talk more about that with some stuff that I have on talk about. But so I played that. I played probably like 2 hours and deleted it off my system. It just was not there. And then Animal Crossing, still kind of playing there. I restarted. I lost. I didn't want to like download everything. I was like, I just want to start fresh. So I started fresh, and so I try to play that every so often.
Mm-hmm.
It's getting into summer, and there's cool things to catch during the summer. So I want to like get the museum built and stuff like that. And then watching, believe it or not, I actually rewatched Book of Boba Fett. It's so short, uh, just because I know everyone's like, "Oh, it wasn't very good." I don't know what you're talking about. I still think it was great. You know, I still think it was. It was.
I don't think it's as bad as everyone says. I think
Right.
it's the weakest thing in that whole thing.
They spent a lot of time setting up story, which they needed to, and then there was 2 episodes that were just Mandalorian episodes, basically.
Yeah, those are good.
Um, but like, him riding the Rancor and like that, and just like in general things. Um, I hopefully they get a second season. You know,
Who knows?
uh,
Because he wasn't even invited for the latest Mandalorian season. He said so.
I
Like,
mean,
I
I
understand
mean,
why he wasn't there because there wasn't
right?
actually a reason for him to be there. But still, just kind of ghosting Boba Fett is weird.
I mean, he's the OG. So,
Yeah.
but we really were watching it, and it was pretty good. Especially since I heard that Disney is going to take from HBO and Discovery. So in the next year, Hulu and Disney are all going to be one app.
Yeah, I heard that, and they haven't really said, but they also said they're not getting rid of Hulu just yet. So I wonder what all is actually going to move. Like, yes, they're going. I don't think everything's going to move. I
No.
think mostly everything's going to move, and everything else that's timed is probably going to move back to wherever
I
they need
mean,
to go.
I'll be honest. Like people were like, "Oh, this is dumb." I would rather have one app that has my Disney stuff and my Hulu stuff all in like one app.
It
Uh,
depends because I don't really like Disney's UI. Disney's UI sucks.
but the
Um,
Hulu one
the Hulu one's not as bad as people make it out to be. It depends on
Right.
like what app or whatever you're on, like whether you're on TV version or whatever, or like a console version. But Disney is just very clunky and it has weird audio issues depending on what you're
Yeah.
on. Like I can't watch Disney on my PlayStation 5. It just sounds off. There's weird like bleeping noises or whatever occasionally. Like not staticky, but you know what I mean, like high pitched noises that kind of like beep every once in a while, like in the speakers, and it's not the speakers.
Yeah.
Just the way that like the audio is encoded. But I really like Hulu overall. I like the way that they show their subs. I like the way that they have curated lists of things, so and it's easy to find those. So like back when they had Seinfeld, right, they would say like here's the seasons of Seinfeld, and then there's a playlist and a bunch of different
Yeah.
playlists. It would be like the ones with Putty, and you could just watch all the episodes with Putty, and that's awesome. But like who Netflix doesn't do that. Disney kind of did that sometimes with their playlists for Simpsons, like Treehouse of Horror. But the problem with Disney Plus's stuff is that if you're watching, say, Treehouse of Horror 4, and the next one in the playlist is Treehouse of Horror 5, you're not getting Treehouse of Horror 5. You're getting whatever's next in season 5 after Treehouse
Yeah.
of Horror 4 because it doesn't know how to play a playlist.
Right.
So there's just a lot of things that Disney needs to fix. I agree with you where having everything in one app is very nice. But I'm also curious to see what the price increase is going to be. They haven't said anything, but there has to be a price increase for more
And
things.
I feel like what's going to happen also is they're going to wait because HBO is merging with Discovery at the end of this month, which that's not anything that anybody asked for. I didn't ask for that.
Ben 10's gone. All of Ben 10, Alien Force, Ultimate Alien, and Omniverse is gone. I was rewatching Alien Force. I was like 15 episodes in, and then one day I turn it on, I'm like, oh, it's not here anymore.
Yeah, like I think you're going to see a lot of that, and we'll have to wait and see what happens. It's unfortunate, like, and they're like, I got the email saying, "Hey, for $20 a month, you can get Discovery." I'm like, first off, the only thing I watched on Discovery was Ghost Hunters. That was it. To me, I'll just go on YouTube and watch those episodes
Either
rather
that
than
or go to like your local store and just pick up some DVDs. That's far
right.
way cheaper.
Yeah, and so like I was actually watching the other day new episodes on YouTube, like the
Yeah.
newer seasons,
Yeah.
and it was not costing me anything. And so, um, but like that's it. Like I don't watch anything on Discovery. There's nothing on there that I need to have. And so I, I mean, we'll see what happens with that. I don't really know, but what about you? What have you been playing and what have you been watching? I bet you I can guess one of the games you've been playing.
I mean, you can probably guess two of the games I've been playing because I think I kind of said it earlier.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've been playing Xenoblade a lot, and Xenoblade 2, I love it. Xenoblade Definitive Edition, Xenoblade 1 can just go in the garbage because it's a bad game. I really like the story in that first game after a certain point, but then I don't think it was worth it to play it. I really don't. I don't think it was worth it to play that first game. But Xenoblade 2, I'm having the ball. I love it. I love the combat. I love the gotcha mechanics of like I I roll essentially. So like I guess let me first sorry because I say gotcha. Do you know what gotcha means? Do you know
uh,
like what gotcha games are where it's like loot boxes.
oh yeah, yep. Not yeah.
Okay.
I do heard that term before.
So like I just want to make sure because not everyone knows what gotcha means.
No,
Um
no. I think it was. I think it's actually kind of funny when I heard that the first time.
Yeah, so like Genshin Impact, right? So
Okay.
like you use currency to roll for characters and you'll get a bunch of like bad weapons and you might get a character that you want. Like it's kind of how it is with Xenoblade, at least with this one, is that you just play the game and collect these crystals, and you either get regular crystals or you get rare crystals depending on the type of enemies that you fight. each time you get a crystal, you can use it to summon a blade, which is your like it's kind of like I think I described it last time as or maybe not, maybe I was just thinking out loud. Like Bleach. You know, like with Bleach how like Zabumaru for what's his face? Jeez, now I can't think of I could think of Renji. I could think of Zabumaru, I couldn't think of Renji. But like uh his Zanpakuto, like it has like a physical form, like it looks like a monkey or whatever. Or like with Ichigo's sword and stuff, like that looks like a person or whatever. So that's how
Yeah.
it is in Xenoblade, where you have the item that is the weapon, but then the weapon is also like a person that's there too that like does spells. Um, and so you summon their weapons essentially and work and fight with them. So you get like regular crystals and then rare crystals, and it's random. You just have to have better luck stats, or you can also use like these certain like other crystals to like turn up like, oh, I will increase the level of dexterity or something. So that means there's a tiny bit more of a chance that I might get a dexterity one that's rare, because they're either blades that are no face, like they're robots, or they're blades that actually are characters and like they have actual faces. They all look different. Each of them are illustrated by different artists as well, so it seems like guest artist things, kind of like how the Fate Grand Order is on or even Genshin. Like not all those characters are drawn by the same person. Like
Right.
they get like guest artists and stuff to do it. So like that's how it is with this game. So like I have a few of them, and I enjoy rolling, and I enjoy killing off the ones that are robots. And like, I don't need you, get out of here, let me get the cool ones. And I just got like a couple cool ones recently, so I'm happy about that. But yeah, no, the game's good, story's great, combat's great, which is what I care about. Yeah, there's not really much more I could say other than that game is great. Yeah, and then Zelda, I love it. I don't know how long. um yeah, I guess I've already basically said everything I need to about Zelda earlier. um Still streaming Digimon once a week, and I got further last week. I beat a boss. I thought the boss battle was pretty fun. um I think the story is getting really really good. um it's a very good game. There are just some localization and writing issues, in my opinion, that could be changed a little bit still. But I'm enjoying that game a lot. I'm happy that I got it on sale. I mean, I would pay full price for it, but I wasn't sure initially because I heard like when that game was being released, I heard like, oh, the localization's bad, and so that kind of made me scared for it. But
I remember when we got it because it was on sale for something
it
stupid.
was on sale for like a Black Friday weekend.
Yeah.
And it was on sale for $15, no, like $12 or $11 at
I think like
GameStop.
11.99. Yeah.
And all of them were sold out. I was in Indy or around Indy, so we just kept stopping at all the GameStops because we were already doing other stuff. And so we're like, oh, there's a GameStop near here. Let's go into this mall and just see. And they had two left. So I got one and my friend got one. Because we were like, yeah, like that's, you can't beat that because the price for the game,
Oh,
it came out like not even 2 weeks ago, I'm pretty sure, at that time. And the game was like 50 new. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna pay the cheaper price. And if I don't like it, I'm gonna get my money back at least, because if I sell it to somewhere, like they expect the price to be much higher, and the
yeah.
price has gone higher again because I see that game in used stores for like 40 or some.
Yeah. It's
But
gone way up. And I think the at that point the trade in value is like $30.
yeah, So yeah, like yeah, we're definitely doing well there. But yeah, that's really I think that's all I've been playing. Watching. Let me pull up my list. Oh, I do have my list. I recently, and by recent I mean yesterday actually. At the time we're recording a different day, so it feels kind of weird. Full disclosure, but I've been rewatching Evangelion, Neon Genesis Evangelion, with a friend who's never seen it before, and we finally finished it. We finished everything. We watched the
Wow.
final movie, the one that came out in theaters a couple years ago, the one that I saw in theaters in December when I was visiting my family, the one that's on like Amazon Prime. And this is the third time I've watched it, and it's such a good film. This third time though, like there are certain parts where I'm like, man, the CG's not great. But then you realize like, oh, it's not supposed to be great
Right.
because um like there's a part, I don't want to like spoil Ava obviously, but like there's a part where like it's supposed to look like a kaiju fight, and like they're both CG. Like the two Avas fighting, they're both CG, and then there are buildings around, and the buildings are kind of just being like tossed aside, like they're like paper mache buildings or something. And it's like, man, this doesn't look great. But then the main character's Ava like kind of like backs up in a corner and against like the sky, and you see like the sky kind of like wrinkle, and you're like, oh, it's a stage. Like so like that's like paper, like construction paper or whatever, or like a tarp or whatever that's supposed to look like the sky. That's why everything's moving around all crappy. Like this is supposed to look bad. um
Right.
there's so like that there's that there are some things that just don't. There is a scene that does have actual bad CG, but like most of it seems to have reason. Or just like, here's robots fighting, and I don't really want to watch this. This isn't why I watch Ava. Like Ava is a fighting robot anime, but it also really isn't. It's more psychological and introspective and stuff like that. So seeing just like 20 minutes of things fighting and get get back to the depression, please. Like I want to see that. But the first like hour of the movie is perfection. It's very very good, and then it kind of like switches gears, and then that's when the movie gets into a different place. But that in between time is still just a little bit like, kind of wish it wasn't there, but at the same time other people probably need it for context. It doesn't ruin the movie, so overall, I still think the movie is excellent and like a masterpiece. I prefer the previous ending movie, End of Evangelion, but this is a very good send off to the whole series. Like there will never, as long as Ano can say, the creator, like I'm pretty sure like there will never be another Neon Genesis Evangelion thing ever again. Because he did it in a way to where there cannot be one ever, like in any sort of spin-off universe or anything. They canonically cannot be anymore, just because of the way that they make it work. But yeah, I've also been watching Zoid still. I'm almost done. I have 4 more episodes of Guardian Force, which is the season 2 of Zoid's Chaotic Century, the one where they have not the racing one, but like the one where they have like the little dinosaur him with him. Zeke is what it's called in the dub. I'm watching sub, so his name is Sieg. And like Van is the main character kid. And Zoids is very good for what it is. It kind of got bad for a little bit, but overall, like I'm happy that I'm watching it finally. Like, and because I've seen bits and pieces of it as a kid, but watching it all the way and watching it in Japanese as well, like it is just as good as I remember it being for the most part. Like, and that's really good compliment, honestly, because normally like when you watch something again, like you watched it as a kid and then you're watching it today, you're like, wow, was I just stupid? Like, why did I like this? And
Right. It doesn't age well.
yeah, it's like there. I mean, there's certain things like SpongeBob or whatever. When I watch that, I'm like, oh wow, why did I watch this?
We were watching old GI Joe,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, God, this is awful. But like 6-year-old me was like, this is the best thing ever. And so, I get what you're saying about that. It is difficult to watch things that we watched when we were younger.
Yeah, definitely. Although some of that stuff though, like there's a certain time like the '90s, like where that era of animation and kids shows were just very good, and so they actually do hold up. Like Batman the animated series for the most part. Superman the animated series is the one of the best things I've ever watched, even as a rewatch. It is so good. I highly recommend everyone watch Superman the animated series. You don't need to watch Batman. You don't need to watch Justice League. Like it is the second series in that, but it is excellence. It is Chef's Kiss. It is yeah, it's great. I have it on Blu-ray. But yeah, it's just shocking to see like oh something from my childhood. It's actually good. That's cool. And the last thing that I've been watching, kind of on like passively, I'd say like I've had it on. Um, I've had Dragon Ball on, like old Dragon Ball, like just going through my DVDs that I've been buying, and I'm at the martial arts tournament, the second one with
Okay.
Tien and Chaozu and the crane guy, and all of that. And it's a fun time. Like it's a very good arc. It's different from the Red Ribbon Army stuff that honestly, in my opinion, went on for a long time. Um, like the first Red Ribbon Army thing is fine, where like he's going up the tower, and was it Muscle Tower? I think that's what it's called.
Yep.
And there's like Android 8 is there, which is like the Frankenstein's monster. He becomes friends with him and everything, and like that's all well and good. General Blue stuff doesn't really age well at all, because it's just very much I don't know. It's politically correctness. I feel, and then the other Red Ribbon Army stuff is like, oh, it's still going. Okay. Um, One of my favorite things from Dragon Ball is Mystical Adventure, which is a direct to DVD or direct to VHS at the time movie, for us at least. I don't think it ever aired like in theaters. Um, but it is a Dragon Ball movie that puts the first tournament and kind of redoes like the training arc with Krillin and Goku for the very first time. And it does that, but then it combines it with the second tournament and puts in Tien and Chaozu in there. And then it also adds like the Upa stuff with like the Native American dad and like his son, like that stuff as well. And I just remember really liking that because it takes all like the good parts of Dragon Ball and just makes it into this weird hodgepodge of a movie. And I don't know how critically people like that. But as a kid, I loved it. I had it on VHS. Like I watched that all the time. And so like my mind when I was like rewatching a lot of stuff, I'm like, I thought this TN stuff happened earlier. It's like, oh, because I watched that movie too much. So
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this happens at a different tournament with Jackie Chun and all that. But yeah, no, Dragon Ball is great. I really like it. It's a fun time. It's a shame that Toei doesn't have good versions of the audio for Japanese because it sounds like a tin can. So I'm watching it in English. So, but that's all. That's all I'm really watching and doing.
So I was going to ask you about this. So, uh, two movie things here. Um, One of them was obviously they announced Beetlejuice 2, and they started announcing some of the cast. Um, I'm actually generally excited for that. Um,
I have
you
no
know,
idea. I
I
don't
mean,
know. Like Michael Keaton's back. It's showtime. Um, I have no idea about Jenna Ortega. Like, I don't know. Like, I know she exists. I know people
And
binge
Wednesday.
watched Wednesday. Is she
Yeah.
actually good though, or is it just her being directed? I guess we'll find out. I know she's also in like Scream and stuff, but
Yeah.
I just honestly don't know how well
I mean,
she'd do.
I thought she was great in Wednesday, and so I'm kind of excited to see that, they got Winona Ryder back, they got her, they even have the mom from that. And so to me, it's a good start, and I feel like, but my only thing is like, has it been too long? You
Yes,
know,
100%.
uh,
Alec
Tim
Baldwin
Burton,
looks so different, and he's not even gonna be in
yeah,
it probably.
yeah, and so like also with it, well, they did get Gina Davis,
Hmm.
she's supposedly going to be in it, but like, the crazy thing is like they should have done it a while ago. I know they've talked about doing like a third Gremlins movie. And it's the same thing for that. Like, okay, most kids aren't going to know what Gremlins are, except
Gremlins
for
could
that.
ha- Gremlins could happen with like different people and different families, or like have Gremlins happen to like in another country or something like that. Like you can still have it happen because the premise doesn't really rely on the characters per se.
No,
So
no,
like
but
you could definitely do that with Beetlejuice. You have to have Michael Keaton be Beetlejuice, and without, I don't know, without certain characters and stuff, I don't know how well it's gonna go. I used to watch that movie all the time as a kid, and like it scared me at certain points, but I was like, the practical effects, like when they do like the stretch out the face and
oh
put the
yeah,
eyeballs in there. I had like a McDonald's toy or something of that.
I,
But yeah, it's crazy. But I really remember watching the cartoon because there was like a kids cartoon of it.
yeah. There was also a very terrible NES game from it.
Yeah.
I think the big thing is going to be is a trailer. And once we get a trailer, it kind of will set things in place. Like when I remember they said, "Oh, hey, Michael Keaton's going to be in the Flash movie. He's going to be Batman." Everyone's like, "Ugh." But then you see the newest trailer, and you're like, "Done. Take my money."
Yep.
The other thing is the Five Nights at Freddy's movie leaked trailer. So they were doing a test, and as a lot of movie companies do, they do like a test trailer, and then people watch it and they give like their thoughts on it. So somebody, and I saw who it was that did it. I have never heard of him, but I won't. We won't name him on here. Recorded his phone from his computer. You can even see like the timestamp stuff on there of like, do not show this, blah blah blah. And he recorded it on his phone and then threw it up on Twitter. Um, I did not personally watch it that way because I needed to see it in high def.
Hmm.
But from the screenshot I did see, it looked pretty good. And I know Alex and I were talking before. I was always worried that they're going to keep this kind of like little kid so they can get more of an audience. But from the picture I saw, it's not that. It is definitely going to be a PG-13. Um, I mean, now they're scrounging to try and get the trailer like done, and get it
Hmm.
out because now they want people to see this, which is crazy because they just started filming in like February.
Yeah, but like the way that this film is probably being made, it's probably cheap to make. I would think so. I mean, I haven't seen a budget, but like all you need are just costumes and a Chuck E. Cheese in your set. Like you
Yeah,
don't need other set pieces necessarily, unless you want to do um like background stuff for like a character, like following the main character from like, oh, I work here now, and then
yeah.
like then it goes into I'm here at night, what's happening. um like you might have
Well,
those set pieces, but overall, yeah, it's just gonna be the Freddy Fazbear's restaurant.
yeah, I think the thing that's crazy about it is, I thought at one point like Five Nights at Freddy's kind of died off until they talked about security breach and they showed that trailer a couple years back. And like, I feel like it's full blown. Like, if they can get this movie out, I think it'll make a lot of money. I mean, I had no idea there was so many people that are so into Five Nights. Like, I just looked up podcasts about Five Nights at Freddy's. There are hundreds.
Yeah, it's all what's his face's fault. Um, what's his face? Matt Pat. You
Yeah.
know, the game theory kid guy, because like he's the one who made the Five Nights at Freddy's guys career. Because Matt Pat would do the game theory episodes and just speculate, and then a new game would come out and he'd do crazy theories, and like just the more and more like that was put into the populace, the zeitgeist of that, the more people were engaged in Five Nights at Freddy's for the longest time, because everyone was like reading behind, I don't know, reading between the lines of certain things, and like, oh, this thing over here means this thing, and like here's an Easter egg, and like it was very much a big part of the internet in the early like, or I don't remember when the game came out, but like there, whenever that came out, like there was certainly a time where it was a big part of the internet where you would be on YouTube and most of it was just Five Nights at Freddy's theories and fan videos and all that stuff. And it kind of died down after they did the what was the one that was an RPG and it was like all happy.
Oh yeah, because it never came out officially. Like, I know which one you're talking about. So they released it, but they never sold it
Yeah,
because it
yeah, it was
was like
free.
a mess. Yeah, it was a mess.
Yeah,
Um,
and like that had a bunch of like stuff because I think it was like based in like an alternate universe or something, but then also had ties to it, and then like I don't know, the Bite of '87, like all that crazy stuff. But like I know so much about Five Nights at Freddy's just because I lived on the internet. I've never
yeah,
played it. I never will.
yeah, and I think the crazy thing is like there are books about it
Yeah,
written by the guy that did the game, and so I think, but when you're looking at a horror film, it's like the perfect scenario for a horror film. Like you mentioned the Scream films. Like when I saw they were doing another Scream film, I'm like, oh my gosh, stop! It's not relevant anymore. It's not as good. But it, at least this is something different.
well, what's his
So
face is in this movie, right? Um,
Matthew Lillard,
yeah,
you got
Shaggy
him,
himself.
Josh Hutcherson,
Oh right,
Mary Mary Stuart Masterson. I mean, they've got some pretty big names in here.
it's crazy.
Um, so I'm
Zoinks.
looking at people now. That's the only ones I really kind of
Mhm.
noticed. Um, but the rumor is there's a couple YouTubers in it.
I bet Matt Pat has to be in it, and maybe Markiplier.
That's the rumor is that because my son watches the other guy, and so but they're pushing for like a date this year. I want to say October. Yeah, expected October 27th of this year. So, and it's Blumhouse doing it, and
Yeah,
they
so like
well, they're doing horror. So,
that's crazy.
yeah. So the other thing that I want to kind of bring up as well is, as we have no E3 this year, we've got some showcase coming up. So Xbox is doing one June 11th, and then PlayStation's doing one the 25th. So this month. Instead of like speculating what are they going to have, what are they going to show, like I thought it'd be kind of cool to say like, what do you want to see at the shows? Like, we'll start off with Xbox because I don't think there's going to be a lot to say. Before the podcast, we were talking the Xbox only podcasts have been really ripping on Xbox this year. Last year they said next year is going to be the game of big drops all year, and the only big one we got was Redfall, and it was disappointing to say the least. I mean, what do you think they're going to show at this one on June 11th?
So Starfield, Starfield.
They're going to have
Um,
to show that with a date.
it's coming out this year. They're still confident. Phil Spencer in the kind of funny X cast that he was in, like, was still confident about Starfield. Um,
Which I got to hand it to him. We were talking about that before the show. I mean, talk about being hit over and over and over again. If you get a chance to watch that Phil Spencer interview for Kind of funny. It was great, and I'm not knocking them in any way, but man, he was like, it was like getting the chair pulled out of from you over and over again, and he handled it like a champ. So
Yeah, for sure. Well, like, there's a part where they kind of danced around with it for him. It's like, oh, it wasn't really up to expectations. And then Phil like interrupted. He's like, no, you can say we didn't do it. Like he was basically like very candid in saying like, no, we failed
yeah,
essentially, which is very cool to see like a figurehead like that admit defeat. Um, I think it's really great to see. But yeah, we're gonna need to see Starfield. We're gonna need to see it with guaranteed FPS. We need to see what it actually looks like, what it runs like. Because the problem with Redfall was the demos and stuff that people played. I want to say those demos were in 60 because they were smaller and people were like, "Oh yes, it's pretty fun." Um, but then once the actual game came out, then they realized they couldn't hit that target, and that's one
yeah.
of the other reasons why it's bad. But we're gonna see that. Um, I don't know what else we're really gonna see necessarily because there are just so many other projects that just kind of have just been left. Just
I think they're gonna show Fable. I think they're gonna actually show.
we're gonna see that weird trailer again with like the
No, I
fairy.
feel like they're gonna show like physical.
I doubt it. I think Fable's dead. I think Fable's dead and they killed it. It's like the Simpsons. It's like stop it. He's already dead. Like that's what it is. Like they've tried Fable way too many times. They tried that weird Connect game or whatever, and that never happened. And then are trying. They showed us that teaser like Fable's back, and it's like, is it? Because we saw that trailer in like 2018, I think, is when
Yeah,
we saw it. Um, I personally, for me, I would really like to see something Banjo Kazooie. I don't think it's going to be from Rare because none of those people are there anymore, but I would
right.
love to see someone make something like that. Um, but otherwise, what's the thing? Hellblade 2, like we've seen more of that again and again. That game just has to be ready at this point. Like, give us a date, make it come out. Um, I don't know how big of a seller it is. I don't think it should be that much, to be
No,
honest. But I think it would make sense to make it come out this year as well, depending on when Starfield comes out. Like maybe make it come out before it, um, and like say like have Starfield come out in November, and then have Hellblade come out in like August or something. Because at that point, like this game needs to be done. Either that or just make it come out next year. But I don't think it can hold a year on its own. There's Are they the ones with the? No, never mind. That's PlayStation. I'll talk about that later. Um, was it Forza? They're probably a new Forza.
yeah, there's gonna be a new Forza.
Uh,
Uh,
I like Forza. I like the last one a lot. I had fun just driving around, just messing around. I played on
right.
Game Pass and I had a really good time there, but
Well, and
doesn't
I'm
really
not
hold
knocking.
my attention.
That's the thing. Is like, you know, they last year I was like, man, that was kind of depressing. They're like, well, we've got the biggest games coming next year. You know,
Silksong, where's Silksong at? It got delayed.
yeah. And then like with Starfield, like, yeah, I think it's a cool thing. It, but is it gonna come out? I Here's what I think they're gonna announce. Obviously, they're gonna talk about those games there. I think they're gonna show some new Elden Scrolls something or other.
I don't think so. I think that is cannibalizing yourself. I think they need to focus on just Starfield because that is Bethesda as well.
Yeah,
I think showing anything about Elder Scrolls because the only thing we saw about Elder Scrolls I think was in 2019, and it was a yep, it's coming. We don't know how far away yet, but it is coming, and Elder Scrolls 6 is a thing. Um, I don't think anyone's working on it. We might see Elder Scrolls Online. Is that thing still going? I think it is.
and they just had like some DLC for it. One thing that I think that would be really cool if they showed, I don't think they're gonna do it, is that they actually did like a real Battletoads game, like not like the one they did last time. That was I don't know
Oh,
what
the
that
weird
was.
one with like the
Yeah, the
weird
weird
graphics.
cartoon
Yeah.
one. Like, and they've got to be watching like because Turtles when it came out was what I wanted in a Battletoads game like that. And then of course there's a Toxic Avengers game coming out that was based on the cartoon, and
Mm.
it will do well. So like I'm thinking that'd be something there. They've got that license to use it, but I don't know. Like all I know is when this show comes out, it's gotta just be on fire. I mean, you got to be like Michael Jordan in the NBA championships, hitting threes. That's what you got to come in. Because if not, I mean, I feel like they've lost a lot of their fan base as a reseller part time. Do you know how many like Xboxes I see for sale? There are more of them than they are PlayStations, and right now I'm seeing more of them than PlayStation 4s. I mean, I'm like every other corner you're seeing the S. They're everywhere.
Well, yeah, because the S was a mistake. But like, also, I think the reason why you see that is because Phil's talked about it. Like, they're not in the console game. They make a console and you can
Oh
do
yeah,
it, but like it's very much a PC. So I wonder how many of these people are getting PlayStations, but then they still have Game Pass and they play on their PC. So they could still be dipping their toes in both marketplaces there. But yeah, no, I agree that there are a ton of Xboxes and stuff for sale and resale. I think that's just because people who didn't even want an Xbox in the first place got one because it was the only thing available at the time, and then they realize, oh, I actually wanted Uncharted or whatever. Like, they wanted something PlayStation, and so that's why they're selling it. Or they yeah, it's just readily available, so I think that's why a lot of people grabbed it who normally want it.
I mean, obviously
And also
there's gonna be
resellers, like super
yeah,
resellers back then.
there's gonna be a ton of third party stuff. There's gonna be stuff that's gonna be on both systems. They'll show all that. One thing I think that'd be really cool if they did, and I don't know if they'll do because they are getting a larger audience with people that have PCs for Game Pass. It'd be cool if they took a lot more of their older games from Xbox and Xbox 360 and released them on Game Pass for PC. I know that's not an easy thing.
There's a one, yeah, it'd be next to impossible. But my friend tweeted or something about it. And he just wants to play Jet Force Gemini on PC.
Yep.
And I told him, I was like, no, yeah, they're not gonna do it because I bought an Xbox 360 for Banjo Kazooie. I bought an Xbox One for Rare Replay, so they know what they're doing. They're gonna sell consoles.
Yep.
Rare sells consoles.
And I bought the Rare Replay just to play the Battletoads arcade game
Mm-hmm.
and to play um, Grab by the Ghoulies, which is a game that
That's such a fun game.
it is, and it was like there, and I thought it did really decent. Scored pretty well.
Mm-hmm. I never
All right.
played it until Rare Replay.
Yeah, I think that's the first time I actually. No, I think I actually did play it on the original Xbox.
Mm.
So now the PlayStation One, I think is going to be pretty simple. I mean, getting them out of the way, they're going to show Spider Man. They're
Yep.
going to show gameplay. I think they're going to show Wolverine
They might.
with gameplay. I think they're going to
With
show
gameplay? Oh no, I don't think so.
I feel like it's been 2 years since they even showed that short trailer. I think they're going to show gameplay.
Wolverine's not going to come out this year. I don't think we're going to
No,
see gameplay.
it won't, but they'll show gameplay.
I really don't think so because they're going to focus all the because it's Insomniac too, isn't it? Technically, for Wolverine.
Yeah, I think so.
So I think they're going to focus all their gameplay stuff on Spider-Man, and then they'll show you a tease maybe of Wolverine either in that universe or something because I bet they're connected somehow. And then they'll be like Wolverine next year or something because it's supposed to be a smaller game. I heard like Miles Morales.
Yeah.
So I don't I again with the cannibalization, but like I think it's I think that would hurt itself if they showed gameplay for both. I don't think there's a reason to. I think you could focus on other games instead and just go forward because you really need to sell Spider-Man at this point to new people.
I just hope they don't really do like a percentage of the show, like a big percentage about their VR, and really try to push it. Because to be honest, at that price point they have it at, I'm not even interested in it.
No one's
Uh,
interested in it. I don't think they're
no,
going to talk about it.
I hope they don't push it because you know how it is. It's like, hey, we need to really push this. We got a bunch of games coming out. I hope they don't. I do hope like they throw in that like random. I think we're gonna see Ghosts too. Um, there's already been
Maybe.
rumors of like what it is, and they've Sucker Punch has already said they're working on it.
Yeah.
They said they were working on it before the director's cut came out.
Hmm.
It was a year or so ago.
Yeah.
They were working on it as soon as the game came out. Um, there's so many rumors that I've seen about that Jin's not going to be in it. It's going to be somebody else.
Hmm.
I hope that's not the case. But I feel like, that there, you know, I just hope there's like that moment where you're watching it and you're like, I had no idea they're working on it. There it is. It's a Sony product. Bam. Because I also know they're working on their streaming device.
Oh, yeah.
They might talk about it. But I mean, if you're looking at the two shows without knowing, I mean, you already know there. Which one of the shows you think is going to do better? I think Sony is just going to knock it out of the park.
I don't know. Because there's a lot of preconceived just ideas about this kind of stuff. Like I have no expectations for Xbox. So I think Xbox in my mind can't get any worse. Whereas Sony has more things that could disappoint me. So it's on a higher pedestal, but if it slips, it's going to be more disappointing. Um, so like having Spider-Man is a good thing. I feel like I hope they don't waste time on Final Fantasy 16. Like that game's coming out very soon, and I understand they need to talk about it. But you've already had how many things of talking about 16? You don't need another one, but it's still gonna happen. What'd be really cool is that if we saw Rebirth, the new Final Fantasy 7, like see a
Yeah.
little trailer for that. Um, I don't know if we'll see that necessarily, but I think we would. That'd be nice to see. We It's been a hot minute. Seeing Kingdom Hearts 4, whether at this or at Summer's Games Fest. There was a thing. I think it might have been Summer Games Fest where they showed all the companies, and it said Disney over here. It's like Square Enix over here. So people are speculating like, oh, we're gonna see Kingdom Hearts. Um,
I
because
mean,
that
that
mobile game's supposed to be out at some point. I don't know if it's out in Japan yet or what, but the new one that takes place in like it's not this, but it looks like Victorian London. Like
yeah.
it looks like Jack the Ripper type London, with certain characters and stuff. Like I'm looking forward to that mobile game a lot, just because I'm interested in that story after reading the previous ones. Um, but we, I think we see more about 4 here soon.
I mean, they've really got to get something on with that. I think if they,
Show us the Star Wars. We already saw the ATST foot.
yeah, I think bringing Star Wars to Kingdom Hearts is super smart. Bringing in Marvel somewhere. I mean, Marvel's a little harder because it's such, but like,
I don't think they would do both at the same. I think that they would save one for another one.
I mean, they've already brought what was it like the second Wreck-It Ralph? There was tons of Star Wars stuff in
Mm-hmm.
that. And so I think that'd be pretty cool to do that. I still feel like both are going to come up with a gotcha moment of like, here's this game. We need to tell you about it. We've been working on it, and it comes out this year. And I think both are going to have one of those. It's definitely not Kingdom Hearts. Kingdom Hearts is
No,
years
definitely
out.
not.
Yeah.
No, but there might be like a hey, you guys like Astro Boy and or Astrobot or whatever. Here's Astrobot 3 technically, and it's available right now for PlayStation Plus owners.
Yeah, I know Greg had something saying that Greg Miller was like, it's gonna be him and Sackboy together in some sort of
Yeah, because Media Molecule isn't working on anything anymore. Like, I mean, they're killing dreams. No pun
yeah
intended. But like they are killing dreams here. They're moving everything to a different server, and they're ending support on it, which is sad. I mean, that's a really cool development tool. It just, if it went to PC, I think it would have done a lot better.
yeah
But
I agree.
because um, I don't know if you've seen the development tools for Fortnite right now. It's crazy. I saw someone made Destiny Islands from Kingdom Hearts 3,
Yep.
and like all the characters and all that, and like basically like a music video where you can walk around. It's
Yeah, it's crazy
unbelievable.
what people are doing with that. Um, I just it blows my mind. I still think that both are gonna have a gotcha moment of like, hey, here's one to show you this real quick, or this is something we're working on and it's gonna be next year or something.
I don't think Xbox is gonna do that
Well, they
necessarily. Like I or maybe for something. I don't think it's gonna be like a it's available really soon thing. Um, because they already did that. They did that with Hi-Fi Rush, where we had no idea that was even being worked on at all, and it just showed up out of nowhere and did really well. Um, Sony could maybe have a thing that we just haven't thought about for a while, which is the Uncharted sequel. Um,
yeah
because we saw that weird Sony commercial where it was like a bunch of live action scenes from different games, but then there was like a female protagonist that looked very Uncharted. So we could be seeing an actual Uncharted thing with I forget that actress's name. Um, but yeah, to continue Uncharted, since it's no longer going to be a Nathan Drake thing because they ended that. Um,
I think they're also gonna show they have something in store for PlayStation Plus because it was such a disappointment when they moved to their tier program, and it's been kind of slow drips. Like their games have gotten better than they're offering on the other stuff, but it's been a super slow drip. I think they're going to come and go, oh, by the way, these are the games that are going to be on PlayStation Plus in the different tiers starting today. And it's going to be something, obviously, the top tier is going to have more PlayStation 1, PlayStation
I'm
2 games.
hoping that what would be really cool for them is to start releasing more games I already own. Because I love that about um, I don't know if Wild Arms 2 came out yet. But yeah, they fixed it. Um, but whenever something comes out for PlayStation Plus that's a classic, you can buy it a la carte. Like you can buy a game separately. Like you can buy Wild Arms. But because I already own Wild Arms as a PlayStation Classic on my PS3 and Vita, PSP, I just have it already.
Yeah.
Same thing with Wild Arms 2, and there's like another game I think too. So that was happening to people where like there's initial glitch, but then once it fixes itself, it notices, oh, you did own it at one point. So I love it if like the vanilla version of like Persona 4, like Persona 4 for the PS2, Persona 3 Fez, which is the better version that people would rather play, put that on PlayStation Plus and then reward people who bought it on PS3 who have it. Yeah, put more PS2 RPGs because like you're doing really well with that. Put um,
Well, I thought it was crazy they put like Tekken on there, right? But they didn't put any of the PlayStation 2 Tekkens on there, like Tekken 3 or Tekken Tag.
well, because if you notice though, the the PlayStation Plus stuff for the retro tier is focused primarily on PS1 and PSP. There
Yeah.
is PS2 legacy because of certain games that were already released on PS4, like the Jack and Daxter collections and stuff like that,
Yeah.
or Star Ocean till the end of time, or other things that were available on PlayStation Now at the time. But overall, It very much is PS1 and PSP only. So I think that's why you're not seeing more PS2 games. But to actually jump in the pool and like have more PS2 games instead of just getting your feet wet on that, I think it'd be a good idea to just go all in and just be like, here's PS2 games. I know they can't do PS3 because
Right.
PS3 games are they're clunky and like they have like you still have to play online in order to play them. But yeah, give us more PS2 games with trophies. Give me
I mean,
Persona 3 Fez with trophies.
I played that PlayStation 3 Batman game.
Origins.
Yeah, and it ran fine. Um, you know, I think it'd be really cool if they were like, "Hey, we have a new HD collection coming out. It's going to be on PS5. It's going to come out later this year. And it's the Sly Cooper collection. And it's like the Sly Cooper
Sly
game.
Cooper is dead. Never
I mean,
coming
I
back.
know it is because my oldest was playing it, streaming it
Mm-hmm.
because it's on there.
Yeah.
I just want like a disc for this to
Nope.
be able to like. And I said,
It's not gonna happen. Same thing with Jack and Daxter. They're all dead. I never played Sly Cooper.
they're pretty fun. They're along the lines of like Jack and Daxter, like that level of like
more like the
platform.
first one, it seems.
Yeah.
Second one's more GTA with platforming.
Yeah. I mean, I think from both conferences they're going to show GTA. I think we're going to see something with GTA because I don't feel like Rockstar is going to do their own thing.
No.
They're going to show it running on newer hardware, but they've got to, man. Like, no one's playing 5. Uh, you know, I don't see it streaming much anymore.
Yeah.
And so I feel like no one's definitely playing Red Dead. That's why they closed their online.
But people were playing Red Dead, and then they closed it, and people got mad and stopped playing Red Dead.
I think they're just trying to focus more of their financials towards GTA.
Because I mean it makes a profit, and I understand that, but I don't know. Give your fans what they want. Give us LA Noire too, like we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, I mean, like, I feel like they're gonna show it, and then one of the consoles are gonna be like, "Oh, and you're gonna get this if you get it on our system." That they do that all the time. So I think both are gonna be good. I think it's crazy that PlayStation's like, because if you notice, Xbox announced theirs first, June 11th, right? And then PlayStation's like, "Hey, we're May 25th." But I think there's a benefit to going second. So,
Yeah. Also, though, like PlayStation has always gone in May, like lately, like for the past few times. So, like, it makes sense that they're just still doing it in May. Who knows about Nintendo? Like,
but Nintendo's Nintendo. They're gonna take their sweet time and they're gonna do one.
They don't have to do one right now. Like, they'll probably have a tweet that says, "Hey, Paper Mario and 1,000-Year Door is coming out," like how they did with the previous Paper Mario's. Like, hey, Origami King. It was what was it? It was like the week after E3, and it was just like, hey, Origami King's a game we've never talked about before. It's coming out in like 2 months.
And it was not good.
Yeah.
I owned it. I got rid of it because I'm like, I remember one time because you had to do things specifically for a boss.
Yeah, you had to like move stuff around, and you had a time limit for it. Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm like, dude, this is not fun to me, because I didn't want that.
Yeah.
So, but 1,000-Year Door is an amazing one, and so, when Nintendo does it, I think they're not going to do one until closer, like August maybe. They'll have a big one.
July maybe, like, because normally there's one that happens around July, or like the third party one or whatever. Because I think Xenoblade 3's happen in July around that.
And I think they'll just do one to talk about, hey, this is what we have coming out for fall.
Yeah.
Like really, because that's when you think about it, July is like the everything getting set for that, reservations and stuff like that. And so we'll see there. But it was just, I was talking to somebody else, and like, man, Nintendo's just slipping. I'm like, Nintendo's like, we're on fire right now. We have a console that's this many years old. We're still selling a crap ton of the same console. It's not as powerful as the other two. We've cornered that market there. and they put out a brand new console, the Zelda one, and it sold like hotcakes.
Yeah,
And
because
so
most people didn't upgrade to. Well, you're getting two crowds there. You're getting the people who were waiting for a new Switch, realize that there isn't going to be one anytime soon, and just bit the bullet because it's Zelda. And so they got a new OLED, and they're having the time of their lives. So they're probably going to buy more Switch games for a while and more Nintendo stuff for a little bit. And then you have the
yeah,
other side of the coin, who are people like your son, who are like, I already have a Switch, but I like Zelda, so I'm gonna get the Zelda one. So like there's both sides there where either way Nintendo's getting money.
I still think that they'll, you know, they'll. I think at some point they're gonna have to release more N64 games. You know, and I think we'll as we get close to the holidays, we'll see more of those to kind of push for that Nintendo online. Um, but yeah, like when I was talking to this with the person, they're like, "Man, Nintendo just needs to get on the ball." I'm like, "No, they don't." I said, "Look at the numbers of Switches they're selling now." Okay, I said, "You're talking about a system that's this many years old, and they're still keeping up." You know, I think at this point they're definitely selling more than Xbox consoles. Um, you know, Sony is killing it with theirs, but they're right behind. They're right behind them. So I don't think they're really worrying about that. And they said in their last one that there's no majorly huge titles coming out for the Switch anymore. Like Zelda was it.
Well, the only other one that we have listed,
I think Pikmin.
Pikmin, and that's well, oh, I guess technically Metroid,
Yeah,
Metroid Prime 4 at some point.
yeah,
Oh
but we
yeah,
don't.
maybe we'll see Metroid. Maybe we'll see Metroid Prime 4 finally, and the
Nah,
rest of the trilogy.
nope. I don't. I don't picture it.
It can't be vaporware. Metroid Prime 4 at this point is either on Switch 2 or it's coming out this year.
I think it will be Switch. I think it'll be the next Switch. I don't think. I think what they want to do is they want to get it on another Switch. And good for them. The only thing is they have a new Switch. They got to make sure it's backwards compatible with the Switch now. Like being able to take your games over to a newer Switch. And here's the thing: they started off at $299. You do a more powerful Switch. You make it backwards compatible. You charge $399. You can charge $499 for it.
Don't give them ideas.
But I'm just saying, like people would if it's
Yeah.
backwards compatible. I mean, I've got like 25 Switch games, right?
Look at all
You've
those
got
back there.
a ton of Switch games.
I
If
counted. I
you,
think it's like over 40.
yeah, so you want to be able to play them on that new Switch.
Yeah.
So and I feel like I know that Microsoft's always joked about handheld consoles or whatever, but Nintendo's the king of that. They've been doing it for well before anyone else was. So but you're right. I think in July they'll do one, or maybe they'll do something at Summer Game Fest. They'll have a couple of little things there of like, hey, by the way, because Nintendo loves Jeff Keighley,
Yep.
and so I think I think the two companies here are trying to get stuff out so they can show stuff at Summer Game Fest
Yeah.
because that's where you're gonna see like the other companies that are like on both consoles.
Mm-hmm.
See them, and you'll see a bunch of stuff, and you'll see. I think they'll show more Grand Theft Auto there. They'll probably show any major DLC for something. They've hinted at DLC for Hogwarts. Although they said,
No, it's
I
a
watched.
separate game.
What's that?
It's not.
Oh,
It's not a DLC. It's not Hogwarts DLC. It's the Quidditch. It's a separate Quidditch game.
oh yeah, yeah. I mean, you'll probably see some of that, um, and that's why I watched the video game awards. I mean, last year was kind of boring because it was either God of War or God of War. But I feel like you watch it because you want to see what they announce.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so we'll have to wait and see because Summer Game Fest happens pretty close to the Xbox showcase. I think, right?
Probably happens like right before it, and yeah, I think it happens before it.
I mean, they've got that giant concert they're gonna do,
Mm-hmm.
and then they're gonna do a bunch of other stuff. But yeah, it should be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So it, I'm anxious to see the one on the 25th, and we will definitely be talking about it once it happens. Um, I think it's going to be just insane. So, but, well, it's definitely been our show. Anyone that's been on here and listened to us, we appreciate all the support you guys give. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to download our episodes, watch our episodes. It really helps us out. We're just kind of doing this for fun, but we love to see those numbers go up. We have a Facebook, we have our Twitter. Definitely get on there. We have our Discord as well. Love to get some more conversations going. If you want to, there's actually several of them. If you want to ask questions, definitely that's the place to do it. This is a bi-weekly podcast, so this one's gonna release on Wednesday and then one on Friday. We skip a week and we come back. I mean, is there anything else, Alex? Or
Stay tuned for more cool things on the horizon.
yes,
We have some plans happening. I don't want to say specifics in case things fall apart, but we have some things that are happening here soon, and that should be a fun time, hopefully. So
something different.
something different. DQ, something different. Um, isn't that Dairy Queen's slogan? Something different.
It was, I think, at one point.
Yeah, because like you can get chicken there and you can get ice cream. Something different. Um, but yeah, no, I have nothing really to say except get at it.
Get at it.